The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
Now we need a sense of global responsibility. Think 6 billion humanity equal.
Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great.
Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping.
It is time that we all perceive gender on a spectrum instead of two sets of opposing ideals.
We must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force.
Within the sound of silence.
But in order to talk freely of those things, you have to release yourself of those pains.
You see, love liberates. It doesn't bind. Love says, I love you. I love you if you're in China. I love you if you're across town. I love you if you're in Harlem. I love you.
If you hit a talib with your shoe, then there would be no difference between you and that talib. You must not treat others that much with cruelty and that much harshly. You must fight others, but through peace and through dialogue and through education. Then I said, I'll tell him how important education is and that I even want education for your children as well. And I'll tell him, that's what I want to tell you. Now do what you want.
And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more.
You can be that great a generation.
I said that why shall I wait for someone else? Why shall I be looking to the government, to the army, that they would help us? Why don't I raise my voice? Why don't we speak up for our
One
rights?
day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. Confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
You know what's right. Just do right. You don't really have to ask anybody. The truth is, right may not be expedient. It may not be profitable, but it will satisfy your soul.
Of course, the task will not be easy, but not to do this would be a crime against humanity.
All that is needed for the forces of evil to triumph is for good men and women to do nothing.
Think about my granddad's lap. Think often about that night. About how some people are waiting for people like us to slide our hands against their walls and say, close your eyes. I'm going to turn on a light.
Welcome to the Forum on CHRW. My name is David Seston. In ancient Rome, the Forum stood as a place where all were able to come out and discuss matters of public interest and concern, and they were able to do so in a free and open environment. Recently, at Western University and other universities around the world, students do not feel that they are able to speak their minds or ask the questions about subjects that concern them. They feel they will be judged by their friends, their peers, and their seniors because they question what's being told to them and whether what they're being told is right or wrong. We cannot have a free and just society where people are afraid to ask the questions and are afraid to speak up. This forum is a project aiming to open dialogue on these subjects that concern students. It is a place where students can talk to other students while trying to get an idea on the concepts that are floating around them without knowing why it's there. There won't be any professors or academics lecturing. This forum will be the student's voice. Because if you hear us talk about it, then maybe it's okay for you to talk about it with your friends and your classmates. The forum will focus on the what, the why, and the how. What the issue is, why it has become an issue, and how it affects Western students specifically and university students in general. All right, so we're on the forum, and today we're doing a rather interesting episode. I'm joined by Marcus, Jill, Michelle, and a new one, Koki.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. I got it right off the bat. And we're talking about a weird one today. And I say that a bunch, but the fact that we're even having this conversation seems a little bit ridiculous. And what we're talking about today is Pokemon Go. Yeah, no, I'm serious. The reality of the matter is this program has been out for, 2 weeks, I think?
Officially
in Canada for 2 weeks. And the reason I wanted to do this was, number one, it is going to affect student lives. There's a number of things where this is going to affect student lives. I've already seen it in some of the classes I've taken over the summer. But at the same time, it is so divisive over such a small little thing that it actually borders on the ridiculous. The fact that people are getting mad, getting upset, that people are going out in public. I guess, does anybody actually want to tell me what Pokemon Go is?
The whole idea behind this is just like, hey, go outside so you can catch Pokemon. Basically, they use Google Maps and then kind of overlay it with like a nice Pokemon skin. And as you're walking around, then random Pokemon will appear. And then if they appear in your area, you can kind of tap on them and then you get to catch your Pokemon. And there's a feature that's like really cool about the app where basically it'll use your camera, and that way you can actually look at the Pokemon in real life, as in like it could be like sitting on the computer, it could be sitting on top of someone's head, in someone's food, things like that. And so like where this kind of strikes its appeal is a lot of people who, when Pokemon first came out, they were like, wow, this would be really cool if it was in real life. And realistically, this is the closest it's gotten so far.
Well, and other than a few minor things, this is the first real use of augmented reality for an app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know Microsoft had their like HoloLens thing, which was like basically the same idea, except you wore it on your face.
Yeah, but
that never came out.
Well, that's just it. None of this was ever released. It was never used for consumer.
Well, the company Niantic, who makes Pokemon Go, they actually released a game prior to this called Ingress.
Okay.
That was augmented reality. So this company is actually all the games they make are augmented reality. So, but it didn't do well commercially.
Okay.
It was a free game. It came out, and that's actually how the Pokestops are. Like people who played Ingress created the Pokestops and all that stuff. So, it was like a minor augmented reality game, but Pokemon is like the big one.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, and obviously I didn't know about that one, but this is the first major use of it, and this is the first one that's ever been commercially successful. Like, well, no, it is. I mean, like people are actually spending like insane amounts of money, which I've never quite understood. I'm cheap, so
don't pay.
So this is the basic concept of it. What we're doing is we're running around and you're catching virtual
Pokemon,
little monsters that sit everywhere.
Little Pokemans.
Well, and I guess this sort of speaks. Before we get into anything, I can't even say serious with a straight face. We're not. You know, like I think this sort of testifies to the cultural phenomenon that is Pokemon. So I'm significantly older than all of you, and I actually remember playing Green on a Game Boy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wait, I thought Green didn't come out in North America.
It had limited release in places like Toronto and New York City.
That's cool.
Really the big release in North America was I guess Yellow. For the Game Boy Color?
It was Game Boy Color.
Yeah, so there you go.
To kind of fill people in on what Green version was they made Red version and Green version originally, but like the games were really like broken, for lack of better terms, and like tons of glitches, things like that. So then they re-released it with Red and Blue version. So the fact that you got a Green was very
that's impressive. That's a collector's item.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you think I still have that sort of stuff? No. I actually miss my old Game Boy. I'm not gonna lie,
but like what's interesting is that like the three of you like know a lot about Pokemon and like clearly like we're really into it when it was like a thing, and then like me and Michelle like
have no
we're just
idea.
looking at each other like we don't
No
really know
idea.
what you're talking about. Like I was never into Pokemon growing up, but like I still like Pokemon Go.
I don't know about Marcus or Koki, but I found it very, very interesting when it first came out, and I remember playing Yellow as well. But then it kind of dropped off the face, and then a couple of years later, I don't know how many years later, the cartoon came out, and that became a huge thing, and it's still going. My son is actually watching it right now, which means that theme song is now like permanently embedded in my brain.
It's all on Netflix too.
That's why my son is watching it.
Yeah, God.
Pokemon Indigo League.
The new series is on it too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the original series and the newest series are on Netflix. All the other ones are on Show Me. I know which times I have to switch. We but this has literally been around for 2 decades and been successful for 2 decades. So that should sort of speak to the longevity of it. But I guess we're going to talk about now is the negative aspects of it and why this is so divisive, and I'm not entirely sure I understand why. So we all know for a long time, particularly, okay, so your generation is addicted to your phones.
Yes.
I don't think I'm speaking from hyperbole. Does anybody want to argue that one?
No. Not at all.
Jill looks like she wants to.
Well, that kind of statement always bothers me a little bit, just because, like, yeah, it's completely true, but it also is standing in for, like, what people were occupying their time with before. No, I'm certainly not knocking that this has just replaced other things. However, my generation is the one that got accused of being addicted to video games. Mm-hmm. I was the Nintendo generation. I remember when the original Nintendo came out, and the flack that happened over that. However, there have been studies, and I'm willing to bet that you guys will back this up just by the thought of this, is if you lose your phone, the problems that it causes in your brain are akin to drug withdrawal. People will go through shakes. They will start reaching for where they think their phone is. I'm willing to bet that at least once a day you guys are sitting there going, oh my God, where's my phone? You have that moment. Because I know I do. And I'm, so there's this already sort of negative bias to your generation, which is a little bit weird because this isn't all your generation. That you're already addicted to your phone, you don't get out enough, you all just sit around and text each other or whatever the hell old people think you do. So there was this complaint that, like, kids aren't getting out more, they're not getting out enough, they're not getting enough sunshine, they're not walking enough, they're a completely inactive generation. We can talk about the obesity problem in the United States and Canada, and yada, yada, yada. And somebody came along with an idea that, like, hey, let's get people outside, let's get them to do things. Some of the features in the game you have to walk certain distances for, and you can't just drive to do it. Literally Still
have to walk.
That egg.
I tried.
Some of these, but then there was the negative side of it. And have you guys, okay, does anybody want to talk about the negative side, or am I going to be the one to
Could I quickly just talk about the first part that you were talking about? As I've said earlier, I'm studying health studies. And a big thing in creating programs that are going to increase health are to make the person willingly want to do physical activity, or at least make healthy lifestyle decisions. And it's difficult. You'd think just be like, eat one green a day, but it's inconvenient for people and they don't want to do it.
Oh,
so
let's not open that can of worms.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's just there's a lot of contextual stuff based on people's own situations, which leads them, because there's all these barriers, and then it's difficult for people to be able to get, for example, adequate nutrition. And then Pokemon Go happened.
Thank you for qualifying that statement, Marcus.
Yes.
You have said that better than anybody else I have actually heard talk on it.
I've had a little bit of practice in class. So then this thing called Pokemon Go comes out. The best physical activity intervention, in my opinion, is Pokemon Go. Because when you think about it, so many people who because of the context of their own situations, they're unable to be able to go out, or quite frankly, some people just don't want to go out and walk around and things like that. And I mean, you can be like, oh yeah, it's laziness, oh yeah, it's this, oh yeah, it's that. But then this app comes out, and then suddenly you get all these people out and about walking around. Suddenly that, hey, the World Health Organization said you should be walking around every single day. Suddenly a lot of people are meeting that. And that just blows my mind, because it was something so simple, and it probably didn't really have that intention with it, and it's doing all this.
No, I certainly don't think it had that was initial intention.
I think it's tricky though, because I know you're talking about what's people are able to do, like exercising. I don't think anyone plays Pokemon Go with the intention, oh yeah, I'm going to get a lot of exercise today. I think they're doing it because they're really, they want to catch their Pokemon. I know for me personally, this is a little awful, but the first day I got it, me and my brother hopped in the car and started driving around. And it's not because we wanted to go on any sort of adventure. It's because we were obsessed with catching these Pokemon. There was no thought in my mind that I'm getting exercise right now. I'm walking around. That it never crossed my mind. It was just all about the game. So I think it's a great pro of the game, but I think a lot of people don't think about that.
they don't think about that, which is the best part. Because as you were driving around,
when you think about
how
it,
many
yeah.
people,
Don't
how
wanna
many
do
people did you
exercise.
see just
Yeah.
walking around on their
I
phones?
saw like a lot.
Yeah. Anybody else on that one quickly before I chime in? I think
just regarding the exercise bit, like I on Michelle's point, like I don't play it for exercise at all. Like I grew up with Pokemon too. I watch the show, I play the games. For me, it's nostalgia because like it's the original 151, and I love it. But then I do have an issue with the fact that like there are kilometers and stuff like that involved because it's kind of like an ableist mentality in the sense that yeah, sorry.
No, it's not though.
Well, because like let's say you have someone who has a disability who wants to play the game, right? Or like someone who, for example, this wasn't sick kids particularly, but then a hospital in the States had actually issued a statement saying like stop dropping lures at our hospital because people who are at the hospital can't reach them because they're too far and they can't move towards them. So it's just like things like that happen and like that's obviously a bit nitpicky, but that's just something to keep in mind.
So
sorry to make it serious.
No, but that's just it. We are going to get serious about this because there are serious problems to this. Before I address that one, I just want to say the problem is we're going to circle back around on which one things. I think Marcus will agree with me. The whole idea that you don't think that you're doing exercise is not entering your mind, is the benefit.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the vast majority of people, if you say, you see it in Western students all the time. I mean, we talk about the freshman 15 and all that sort of stuff. We have a world-class gym within steps of the UCC. And how many students do you actually sit here and go, I'm going to go to the gym today. I'm going to start going to the gym this week. I'm going to do it. I'm getting healthy this year. We're heading into second year. I know a number of second years are all.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen. It just literally is not going to happen. So you have an app that fools people, and should we have to fool people into doing exercise? Maybe not, but
in an ideal world, we shouldn't.
So to talk about sort of, we were going to talk about a negative there, and you hit on one, and it's gone. So I now have to go to my cheat sheet. Yes, I have a cheat sheet for this one too. I guess we will talk about sort of the negatives and negatives on students. So anybody other than me taking a summer course here at Western?
Yeah, I am.
Cool. Have you seen anybody play in class?
Yes.
Have you played in class?
Yes.
There we go. And this is a summer course.
Yeah.
The three other people here, Marcus, Jill, and Michelle. Oh, I'm horrible with names. I'm sorry. You guys are in the UCC on a fairly regular basis, right? How often do you see people playing Pokemon Go in the UCC?
Daily. Yeah. Definitely daily.
Now, are we talking one or two people?
Depends.
I play here. I come here every day and I play every day.
Well, okay, so we know that at least 5 people in the room. But outside of our personal, outside of this bubble, how many people are we witnessing doing it?
I mean, maybe like 1 or 2 that I actually see the screen on their phone and I'm like, that is the Pokemon Go app. But like there's like at least like maybe like 5 or so people walking around like, that's probably Pokemon on their phone right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome.
Oh, again, I'm not saying that this is necessarily a negative. But we're in the summer months, and the UCC is relatively dead right now. And we're already talking that a visible part of the population is already doing this. When classes roll around, how many people you think are going to be playing this in class?
It's so interesting because, like, I've been at school here. I'm going into my 5th year, and I've seen the campus, all sorts of life all across it. Over the summer, I come here at night sometimes just to like go practice or something like that, and there will be more people on campus that I've ever seen over the summer than I have ever seen during semesters, which is that's crazy to me that like people are going out of their way at night to go to school that they might not be usually going to, and it's just like that's crazy, and I think that's really cool. But also there are also issues with that too, because like safety and all that stuff.
Well, let's talk about the safety concerns because you just segued quite nicely into it. There actually has been a fatality related to Pokemon Go. There have been a number of fatalities related to Pokemon Go, but there's actually been a murder related to. And to be perfectly honest, this was in Brazil.
It was
certainly not, but people were waiting in ambush at a Pokestop, and waited for somebody to come by and they
there
killed
was,
them.
There were 2 guys in the States as well who they were armed and they were waiting at a Pokestop and just armed robbery everyone.
Now, that was going to be my next point, so thank you again for segueing quite nicely into it.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm taking all your points.
Don't say sorry. It means that I don't have to talk as much, and I already talk a lot. We are looking at things like robbery. You know, if you want to rob somebody, if you want to do bad things to somebody, you literally know where they're going to be. Or you're going to have a 15-minute window of surprising that person when a rare one pops up. And this is sort of one of the negative sides of the third-party tools that tell you what's active where, is you can start going, well, okay, this one's a little bit rare, and, you know, let's go raid around and see what happens. And you know people are going to be there with their cell phones. So we automatically know they're going to have expensive stuff on them. 100% cookies, 100% right. I don't know if you guys have actually wandered around the campus at night. I did the other day.
Victoria Park is...
Victoria Park,
really?
Yeah, it's lit.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my God.
Talk to me about Victoria Park, because I haven't got there.
12 a.m. I went there quite a bit on like the first week that it came out.
12 a.m.?
Yeah, it's like...
And there were at least 40 people.
It's...
Oh, man.
Well, I went there at 11 p.m. last week, and there were at least 100 people there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
I've seen a lot of videos of just like people there.
Wow. Okay.
So, and the people are there until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., which is, oh my God.
I had, this past weekend, I ended up just spending the whole day with my son, which is never a negative thing. However, a 4-year-old does tax the brain a little bit, and it was like, oh my God, I need to get out of the house for a moment. And I came, so my wife was putting him to bed because she hadn't seen him all day. And I just came up to the campus and I wandered around, and there were at least 40 people wandering around the campus. And there were people camping 2 of the gyms, which was kind of interesting. We'll get to that in a minute. But the thought did cross my mind as there were certain Pokestops and things in other areas that weren't well lit, that weren't great places to be. I mean, nothing's terribly unsafe on campus, but, you know, if you're going to go wander around by yourself, this is something you have to worry about, you know. And I'm not going to play the gender card or anything like that. You know, whoever you are, if you decide to go wander around, particularly, and I hate to say this, downtown London.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to be. So there is sort of this aspect to it. Has anybody sort of run across any other? So we know we're going to be talking about campus security because there was a whole bunch of.
Yeah, like campus police released a statement.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure they did, but.
I'm sure.
Again, don't quote me, but
he says on the radio.
Just like they were just talking about, like, be safe when you're playing, and like, because there's also, they addressed the fact that there are like 3 Pokestops like outside campus police, like right there, and like people are sitting there all the time, and they're just like, what? I don't know what. What do I do?
Well, and this goes to one of the sort of negatives that has cropped up, and one of my family members by marriage was complaining that where she lives right now, initially there was nobody out in the park, and now there's hundreds of people all over the park, and she's treating it like it's a horrible thing, and you know, how dare you be walking around and stuff like that. So, you know, like campus police and the same thing. It was like, there's 3 Pokestops right there. Why are you guys hanging around? It's kind of public space, isn't it?
Yeah.
So...
Well, it's interesting too because there's a particular spot of London near the museum that.
Which one? There's 2 museums.
Museum London.
There's 2 museums.
Where is it? It's near Ivy Park.
The downtown one, or
the
one?
downtown one.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Just want to be clear.
Sorry, but
because I want to go look later.
There's a spot there that has like has spawns for kind of rare Pokemon, and like people, and like the museum property, I'm not sure if it's public or private, but then it's just so many people there, and I wonder how the museum must feel that like people are just outside their museum and they don't want to go inside, which is like kind of annoying because like the museums are cool. I like museums, and then it's just like people aren't interested in the museum; they're just interested in the Pokemon that are there.
So let's segue into that one. Thank you. You're just making. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but like, if there are more people outside the museum, surely like that's going to increase the amount of people that like actually bother to go there.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be great.
So hold that, because I know you got more on it. One of the negatives that's been talked about is that the Pokestops are disrespectful. Because so Pokestops are all attached to features. Living in Canada, at least I know, whenever you go to anywhere of importance, there's that big blue plaque with the Canadian coat of arms on it, and that tells you what happened here. And those are all Pokestops. Around Western, there are a number of plaques and stuff all over Western dedicated to people, and they're all Pokestops.
Yeah, like a lot of memorials.
There are like 2
on
benches
campus.
outside the UCC.
Yeah. So do you think it's respectable? I think I'll lead it on that.
Hang on, I just want to throw this out there. Have you guys heard about the Auschwitz?
That was too much. That was that annoyed me.
Okay, so you can't just say that without
guys. Okay.
I don't remember the name of the Pokemon.
Yeah, it was Ghastly, who's known to be a ghost Pokemon. So that's kind of like, okay, not too great, but I mean, it's not horrible.
Okay. No, continue, and then we'll go with that.
Okay. And then the other Pokemon that you can find around there is Coughing, who's known as a poison gas
Pokemon.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe the Coughing, not so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, not cool.
They contacted Niantic and were just like, hey, take us off the map because that's not cool.
Yeah, which I was going to bring up. Like, I'm pretty sure that I read that places can now opt out of being Pokestops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So which is pretty important.
So the quick one. The way the algorithm works is that it recognizes cemeteries and other things within Google Maps, and that's why ghost-type Pokemon appear in those places.
No. Yep. Yeah. Just like actually in Victoria Park, they've got like the memorial stuff, and around there you can find the ghost Pokemon. Yeah.
So it wasn't even in intentional bad taste. It's just the way it was all programmed, and certainly I think that. If everybody should have the ability to say, please take us off. However, so we'll go back to to being, is this disrespectful or not?
I'm curious, do you know, does anyone monitor these? Like, are they chosen through algorithms from Google Maps, or are they chosen?
I would think through algorithms.
I'm pretty sure it's through algorithms. You can't program specific Pokemon to be at every inch of the planet.
Well,
that's true.
Well, just to say on that one, roughly how many Pokestops are on Western campus?
There's a lot.
Not even satellite campuses, just Western.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's at least 4 near the engineering building.
There's 4 in the UC. There's 5, 6 around the UCC.
Yeah, there are a lot. There's one at every residence.
So it's pretty safe to say that there's at least 20, probably closer to 40 on campus.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So no, they couldn't individually program.
Right.
It's all through Google Maps algorithms.
I think in that case that it is disrespectful that they are being attached to memorials and things like that, but I think it's very unintentional. I think they just probably should have had a better way.
I think in concept. Sorry for cutting.
No,
you
that's
off.
okay.
In concept, they were like, "Oh, ghost Pokemon should be at cemeteries," but then they didn't have the foresight to think that that's kind of disrespectful.
It's more like a bad call on their part.
Because even in the Pokemon games, you find ghost Pokemon in the cemetery. That's how it is.
All right. So I knew this, again. So that's our 2. So we have to take a quick little break. We're going to come back. We're going to continue talking about the negatives because I have a couple questions for you. Okay. We're talking about Pokemon Go. We'll be back in a second.